You'd think the most understood animal on Earth would be one we made ourselves. The pigeon, bred by millions, studied for centuries, standing on every street corner on the planet. And somewhere over open water, a storm is forming, hundreds of miles away. This animal, on a wire above a city street, can pick up the pressure change that moves through the air. While the lowest note a human ear can hear sits around 20 hertz, a pigeon can hear sound 400 times lower than us. To this bird, that storm arrives as sound, like a deep, heavy throb pulsing in from somewhere past the horizon. We don't understand fully why hearing sounds this deep matters to it. So what else is hiding behind that gray? Look far enough back into this bird's family, and one relative stops you cold. The dodo. Not a distant cousin, the dodo was a pigeon, a giant, flightless one, stranded on an island long enough to lose the sky. The most famous extinction in history sits in this bird's family album. And go looking for the dodo's closest living relative, and gray is the last thing you'd find. It's the Nicobar pigeon, out in the islands of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, a wash of iridescent green, copper, and blue, one of the most colorful birds alive. That family gave us one of the most famous dead birds on Earth, one of the most gorgeous ones, and the gray thing on your windowsill. 3 birds, 1 bloodline, and the plainest one of the 3 turns out to be the toughest. When you look at its neck, it looks like colorful feathers. But that shimmer has nothing to do with the green or purple color in the feather at all. Get close enough and you'd see the surface itself is structured, at a scale too small to see, splitting light apart like a prism. The color isn't a pigment, it's reflection, and a pigeon sees further into that light than you do. Into ultraviolet, part of that shimmer throws color back in a range you can't perceive. So what you're looking at is a washed out fraction of the real thing. To another pigeon, that neck isn't quiet, it's loud. It's how they court, likely how they tell each other apart. Now watch it walk. That head snapping forward, locking still, snapping forward again. It looks a bit funny. A pigeon can barely move its eyes, so it moves its whole head, holding it dead still while its body catches up underneath, then throwing it forward and locking again. Every one of those funny steps is a clean, unblurred frame. Whether that same motion also helps it judge distance, the same way you'd use 2 eyes, is still an open question. What else it's doing is still open. That vertical launch in the sky isn't decoration. Something is hunting this bird. A pigeon can hit 0 to 60 miles an hour in about 2 seconds. And it isn't just fast off the line. It can hold a hard pace for hours, covering hundreds of miles without stopping. The peregrine falcon, fastest animal on the planet, in a full dive, it hits 200 miles an hour. In plenty of cities, the pigeon is most of what it eats. So this should be an easy catch. Look at the numbers instead. A pigeon cruises at 50 to 65 miles an hour. A peregrine, not hunting, just flying, 24 to 33. Push a pigeon and it's been clocked past 90. In level flight, on pure flying ability, the fastest animal alive does not win that race. So the falcon climbs thousands of feet and throws itself at the ground, borrowing speed from gravity, because in a straight line, it cannot catch this bird. And the pigeon is watching the whole thing happen. Its eyes sit on the sides of its head, almost a full circle of vision, 340 degrees, next to no blind spot at all. It's scanning, and the instant something in the sky doesn't belong, its sharp central vision locks onto it. Whether that zigzag flight pigeons break into under attack is a hardwired panic reflex, or a calculated move to break the falcon's tracking, researchers are still split. Take away the danger, every landmark, and a completely different question opens up. How does a pigeon you took 1,000 miles from home, somewhere it's never been, find its way home? Almost nobody knows fully how. There isn't one answer. There are pieces. Start with the eyes. Somewhere in a pigeon's retina, light hits a protein called a cryptochrome, and the leading idea is that this lets the bird see the Earth's magnetic field the way you'd see a shadow. Not a separate sense, off on its own, laid directly over the world it's already looking at. A direction, visible. Then a second piece turned up somewhere nobody thought to check, the liver. Cells in there carry magnetic particles, tuned to the same field, an organ doing a job no one built it to do. None of it runs alone either. The sun sets the compass, and somewhere in that beak, it's reading the air itself, trace scents, carried on wind, all together becoming a kind of map. Every sense checking the others. A century of searching, and this bird still hasn't fully explained itself. Then there's what's running those eyes. Show a pigeon groups of objects and ask it to put them in order. 1, then 2, then 3, all the way up to 9. It does it, ranking quantities in sequence like that had only ever been shown in rhesus monkeys. This bird does it too, and it knows your face, not your coat or the way you walk, your actual face. Pigeons pick individual people out and tell them apart by facial features alone. Wild, untrained pigeons in an ordinary park do the same thing. They work out which person is which, and they remember. Which means the flock you walked past this morning probably knows exactly who you are. Critics push back on all of it. Pigeons trained on trickier tasks sometimes stop generalizing and just memorize the exact images. Whether that's real understanding or one of the largest brute force visual memories in nature is still argued over. So why is this bird so unnervingly good at living with us? That bird on the pavement is actually not wildlife, it's livestock. We took the wild rock dove and domesticated it more than 6,000 years ago, first for meat, then for the one thing it could do that nothing else on earth could. It carried our words for thousands of years. If you needed a message to cross 100 miles faster than a horse could run it, this bird was the only technology that existed, and we sent it to war. Through both world wars, pigeons flew messages through gunfire and gas. Then we pinned medals on them. 32 received the Dickin Medal. Britain's highest award for animal bravery, the Animal Victoria Cross, war-created veterans with feathers. Then we invented the radio, and we didn't need them anymore. The birds we'd bred by the millions did the only thing we'd built them to do. They found somewhere with ledges and stayed. The pigeons in your city and their descendants, escapees and leftovers from an industry we shut down, and we call them rats with wings. Some kept the passion for it. In 2020, a Belgian racing pigeon named New Kim went to auction and sold for about $1.9 million for a pigeon. Same species, war heroes, vermin, and million-dollar asset, all at the same time. This bird was never a miracle of the wild. We selected it, deliberately, for thousands of years, and then we walked away and left the finished product standing in the street. And it didn't just survive that, it thrived. There are around 260 million of them now, one of the most widely spread birds on the planet. So successful, it's quietly erasing its own ancestor, breeding with the last true wild rock doves until there's almost nothing left that isn't part city pigeon, and nothing about what made it remarkable ever left. The compass nobody's finished mapping, the dodo in its family album. We didn't stop needing this bird because it stopped being remarkable. We just stopped looking. If you made it this far, here's a fun fact. This bird produces milk. Both parents do it. Inside a pigeon's throat is a pouch called a crop, and for its first few days, that's what a squab eats. It's richer in protein and fat than cow's milk. If that changed the way you see this bird, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.